Welcome to Peaceful Sleep. Tonight, we leave ancient Rome behind and travel to a different time, a different world. We're going to medieval England, to a small kingdom called Ashford, where stone castles rise above dark forests, and winters are long and cold and very, very quiet. This is not a story of knights in battle, or dragons, or war. This is a slow story, a quiet story, a story of one ordinary night in one ordinary castle, told softly, just for you. So pull your blanket a little closer, take a slow, deep breath, and let the candles of Ashford Castle guide you gently into sleep. It was the coldest night of winter in the year 1247. The kingdom of Ashford sat quietly on a hillside, surrounded by bare, dark trees and frozen fields. During the day, the castle was full of noise. Knights training in the courtyard, cooks shouting in the kitchen, horses stamping in the stables, lords and ladies walking through the great hall. But night had arrived, and one by one, every light in the castle had gone dark. The knights had returned to their quarters, the cooks had covered the fire, the horses had settled into their warm hay, and the lord of the castle had retired to his chamber hours ago. Now only one person remained awake, a young servant boy named Thomas. Thomas was 17 years old, with messy brown hair and quiet gray eyes. His job tonight was simple. Walk the castle corridors, check every candle, make sure no flame was left burning unattended, and keep the great hall fire just warm enough so that the castle would not freeze before morning. He picked up his own candle from the kitchen table, cupped his hand around the flame, and stepped into the dark stone corridor. His footsteps were soft, the stone floor cold beneath his worn leather shoes, and the castle, ancient and heavy and silent, breathed slowly around him. Thomas walked slowly down the first corridor. The stone walls were thick, so thick that no wind could get through, and yet the castle was cold in a deep and quiet way. The kind of cold that settles into old stone over many centuries. He checked the first candle holder on the wall. The candle had burned down to nothing, just a small pool of hardened wax and a faint curl of smoke. He moved on. The corridor turned left and then right, and opened into a small antechamber where tapestries hung on the walls. Thomas raised his candle and looked at them. They showed scenes of old battles, kings on horseback, arrows flying through the air, castles burning in the distance. But all of that was long ago. Tonight, the tapestries just hung there quietly, heavy and still, their colors muted in the candlelight. Thomas walked past them slowly, his flame casting long, soft shadows on the ceiling. He checked another candle, burned out, and another, barely a stub, flickering its last breath. He walked on, unhurried, listening to the sound of his own footsteps and the occasional creak of the ancient castle, settling into the cold night. Somewhere above him, in the Lord's chamber, someone was snoring softly. And somewhere outside, far beyond the castle walls, an owl called once, and then was quiet. Thomas smiled to himself and walked on.
Thomas pushed open the heavy wooden door of the great hall. It was a large room with a ceiling so high it disappeared into darkness above. Long wooden tables stretched the length of the hall, the same tables where knights and servants had eaten together just hours before, now empty and silent, scattered with the remains of the evening meal, a forgotten cup, a half-eaten piece of bread, a wooden spoon left behind. At the far end of the hall, the great fireplace. It was still glowing, just barely, a low bed of orange embers, breathing softly, sending small waves of warmth across the cold stone floor. Thomas walked to the fireplace slowly. He knelt down on one knee and carefully added 2 small logs from the pile beside the hearth. The embers caught them slowly. A thin ribbon of orange flame crept along the edge of the wood, and the fire came quietly back to life. Thomas sat back on his heels and held his hands out toward the warmth. The fire popped softly once and settled. He sat there for a long moment, just watching the flames. They moved slowly, peacefully, rising and falling like slow breathing. The great hall was completely silent, except for the soft crackling of the fire. And Thomas, kneeling alone in the warm orange light, felt the tiredness of the day settle into his bones like a heavy blanket. His eyelids grew just slightly, heavier.
After a while, Thomas stood up slowly and continued his rounds. He pulled his tunic tighter against the cold and stepped through a small side door into the inner courtyard. The night air hit him immediately, sharp and clean and cold. He stopped for a moment and breathed it in. Above him, the sky was enormous. No clouds tonight, just a vast dark blue canvas filled with more stars than Thomas could ever count. The crescent moon hung low over the eastern tower, casting a pale silver light across the cobblestones of the courtyard. Snow had fallen earlier in the evening, just a light dusting, and it lay undisturbed across the ground, perfect and white and still. Thomas stood in the middle of the courtyard and looked up. He had lived in this castle his whole life, and still, on nights like this, the sky made him feel very small and very peaceful. He could see the stables from where he stood, and through the small window, the warm yellow glow of a lantern, and the slow, steady breathing of horses sleeping in the hay. He could see the chapel, its small stone cross catching the moonlight. He could see the Lord's tower, dark and quiet, everyone inside lost in deep sleep. And the snow lay over everything, soft and white and perfectly still. Thomas took one more slow breath of cold night air and turned back toward the warmth of the castle. His candle flame bent sideways in the breeze, then steadied again. And he walked back inside, quietly, carefully, like someone trying not to wake a sleeping world.
Thomas made his way back through the corridors one final time. Every candle had been checked, every fire tended, every door secured. His job was done. He walked slowly back toward the small servant's room near the kitchen, where a simple straw mattress and a wool blanket waited for him. His feet were tired, his eyes were heavy. He set his candle on the small wooden table beside his bed and sat down slowly on the edge of the mattress. The straw rustled softly beneath him. When bedtime stories have been told in peaceful silence. And so ends our story tonight of Thomas, the humble servant of Ashford Castle. A boy who asked for nothing, who expected nothing, who simply did his quiet duty and found peace in the stillness of a winter night. Just like you, right now, you have done enough today. There is nothing left to do, nowhere to go, nothing to worry about. Just let the warmth find you the way it found Thomas. Just let the quiet settle around you like snow falling softly in a castle courtyard, and sleep deep and peaceful and undisturbed through the rest of this winter night. If tonight's story helped you rest, please subscribe to Peaceful Sleep. A new story is waiting for you every single week. Good night, sleep well, and we will see you in the next story.